right, we are back live. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance, www.bolopunchboxinghour.com, streaming to you live, as always, on Ustream.tv. Want to say hey to all our good friends over at In This Corner. I'm not going to list names. You know who you are, and Bolo Punch is thinking of you guys, and you gal. I haven't been able to actually see who's in the chat room tonight, but I have a pretty good sneaking suspicion that some of our old regulars are there. Tomorrow night, Rama, Ontario, Jose Carita Lopez taking on Marvin Solsona. 12 rounds for Lopez's WBO Junior Bantamweight Championship of the World. Steve Molitor against Dario Azuaga, and Greg Kielsa against Kevin Montier. In Lincoln, Nebraska, Joey McCready against Eddie Caminero. Demetrius Andrade taking on John Williams at junior middleweight. That will all be good stuff. Also, Omar Pena against Israel Sanchez.
Yeah, Andrade, the former Olympian.
Demetrius Andrade, very dominant when they had him on Friday Night Fights about a month and a half ago. That was good times, because that is a young, hungry dude. He's only like 22 years old.
No, Andre's the guy that didn't make weight, correct? I believe that's who he was in the Olympics. He didn't make weight, and
I don't know a whole lot about his Olympic career.
He was the guy. He won the World Games.
Yeah.
He didn't make. I believe this is the correct guy. He didn't make weight going into the Olympics, and he was a high hopeful to win the gold for the U.S. team, and then didn't make weight. Missed it by a couple pounds, but.
That would suck. September 5th, Panama City, Panama, Luis Concepcion against Omar Saledo. Daniel Ponce de Leon against Royneth Caballero. That's a WBA featherweight eliminator. So you know Ponce de Leon on his way back up to the title again.
Always on the verge of getting that title
shot.
He's
right there.
I mean, he got rocked by Lopez, but who doesn't get rocked by Lopez?
That's the way that works.
If you're going to fight him, plan on getting knocked out.
You might as well. I mean, what the hell?
I mean, De Leon, one of the biggest punchers that, this era.
What was that, 3 years ago? He got
knockout
of the year, 2 rounds, 2...
Oh, Ponce de Leon, yeah.
Oh, just
yeah, it
vicious.
had to be about 3 years
just
ago
vicious. Now. Telemundo on September 11th, Mexico City, Alejandro Hernandez taking on Wilbert Uicab. That's 12 rounds at flyweight. You've also got on September 11th in Philadelphia, you've got on GoFightLive.tv, Darren Fallon against Joshua Onyango, and you've got Steve Upshur Chambers taking on Aaron Drake. Moving on down. In Essex, England, John McDermott against Tyson Fury. Tell me that's not a cool name, Tyson Fury.
It is a very cool name.
September 12th, in Herning, Denmark. Showtime same-day tape. You've got Mikkel Kessler against Gusmil Perdomo. 12 rounds for Kessler's WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World.
I'll smoke a Perdomo just like Kessler's going to.
Yes, Kessler will have a fine cigar in a Perdomo at the end of this fight. Interestingly enough, Mikkel Kessler was allowed to jump into the WBA, into the super middleweight tournament on the condition that he take care of his mandatory, which is Gusmil Perdomo first.
I mean, Andre
Ward
went
ahead and signed and said, okay, well, yeah, his first fight's against Andre Ward, dude.
Well, Andre Ward's going to be fighting on Showtime as well on September 12th. So
against Shelby Pudwill. 10 rounds, at super middle as well. You've also got James Toney fighting Matt Greer at 10 rounds heavy. And that's about that.
I don't know. Is Andre Ward his first fight?
I think sure. Andre Ward is his first fight. Yeah, it might not be.
But, yeah, there's a lot of good guys in that tournament. Andre Ward is probably the guy, either Durrell or Ward would be the two guys I would pull out of this, because it's going to take over a year to complete this tournament. I think almost 2 years to complete this whole tournament. If it works out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, but there's even alternates. There's even alternates because they know it won't work exactly the way they want it to. Also in Sacramento on the same night, Matt Godfrey, who I'm friends with on Facebook.
Well, I guess
and he actually types his own stuff. Love it. San Juan, Puerto Rico on Integrated Sports Pay-Per-View. Ivan the Iron Boy Calderon against Rodel Mayol. That is the rematch. 12 rounds for Calderon's ring and WBO Junior Flyweight Championship of the World. Roman Martinez is taking on Vicente Martin Rodriguez for the WBO Junior Lightweight Championship of the
Bit of
World.
a stretch for a pay-per-view. I think I'll be visiting Justin this weekend.
Justin's going to be a good man that night. You've also got Nuevo Vallarta in Mexico, top-rank pay-per-view. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. against Jason LaHoulier, 10 rounds at middleweights, and that is a very big-time fight. They're giving it a lot of press on Fight News and Eastside. Definitely check that fight out. And finally, in Monterrey, Mexico, Nehomar Cermeno against Christian Mijares. That is the rematch, 12 rounds for Cermeno's WBA Interim Bantamweight Championship of the World. So that should be most interesting. And when we're talking about light heavies, you can't talk about light heavies without talking about one of the greatest Hall of Fame light heavies ever. Tonight's Golden Leaf fighter you should know is Bob Foster. One of the greatest light heavyweight champions in history, Bob Foster was a dangerous puncher with either hand. He so dominated the 175-pound division that he sought greater challenges from heavyweights. In fact, Foster lost to just one light heavyweight in his prime, Moro Mina, a contender from Peru. Foster turned professional in 1961 and faced his first major opponent the following year in his 10th professional fight. He met perennial contender Doug Jones, who by then was a ranking heavyweight. The result was a second-round knockout and Foster's first loss. In '68, Foster challenged for the light heavyweight championship and knocked out Dick Tiger in the 4th round at Madison Square Garden, New York. He proceeded to dominate the division until he retired in 1974. Along the way, he scored knockout victories over Frankie DePaula, Andy Kendall, Hal Carroll, Tommy Hicks, Vicente Rondon, Mike Quarry, and Chris Finnegan. Foster found that his most serious challenges and biggest paydays were up in the heavyweight division, and while he gamely fought top heavyweights, the results were always disappointing. Heavyweight champion Joe Frazier knocked him out in 2 rounds in 1970, and former champion of the world Muhammad Ali stopped him in 8 rounds in a bout billed for the NABF Heavyweight Championship. Emil actually posted video footage of Foster against Joe Frazier.
Yeah,
It's up there on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a pretty good, quick knockout. Obviously, it shows that obviously Bob Foster was a lot better at light heavy. He could use that length that he had a lot better at light heavy and not have the power that that Frazier had to catch him with one big punch.
Frazier got rocked with a couple of shots that Foster threw, though. That was a serious punch that Bob Foster landed. And these are not my words. I'm
in today's day,
I can't remember exactly who said this, but Bob Foster couldn't lose at light heavy and couldn't beat anyone north of light heavy. This was before there was a cruiserweight division.
I don't think he would be fighting at heavyweight during these days. I think he would stay around light heavy and he could make his money there. It's a totally different era.
His punch would make him a standout in today's light heavyweight division. Foster announced his retirement from the ring after Jorge Alhumada fought him to a controversial draw in '74. He ended up returning to the ring, won 5 straight fights, but retired for good after suffering a knockout loss in 1978. Born December 15, 1938, 65 fights, 56 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 46 wins by knockout. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame of Canastore, New York in the year 1990. Tonight's Golden Leaf fighter you should know, Bob Foster. I want to give special thanks tonight to Tavoris Cloud of Tallahassee, Florida. He is the new IBF light heavyweight champion of the world. And to everyone listening at home and on YouTube, we love you all. Special thanks to In This Corner, all our good friends on that message board. For Timmy the producer Patterson, Emil Soto Babinski Kegelbein, Nestor Garza Romero, I am your host Chris Guzman, wishing you peace and punches. This has been your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com, streaming to you live as always on Ustream.tv. Save us a ringside seat. Up to you, Mike.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world. Closing time. Turn all of the lights on.